Rory, welcome, and of course, many, many congratulations for what you have achieved today. Your third DP World Tour title, and of course, your sixth Race to Dubai title. We saw you a little bit emotional on Sky when the enormity of what you had achieved set in. Just start us by giving us those thoughts.
It's a personally for me, it's a huge achievement. I think all week as well, it's sort of been building and building because, after the first round, I played well and Thriston was a little bit behind. So, it felt like a bit of a foregone conclusion, but it never really hits you until it actually happens. And I just think about what Seve meant to the game, to this tour, to the European Ryder Cup team. We sit in the locker room at the Ryder Cup and the place is just filled with Seve quotes. Every wall you look at. We had a changing room last year in Italy with the last shirt he ever wore when he played the Ryder Cup at Oak Hill in '95. So I think it was that, and then combined with the fact that I've had so many close calls this year, and I certainly didn't make it easy for myself out there either on the back nine. So I think just the combination of the Seve thing plus finally getting over the line in what's felt like a long time. I think the emotion of it all just sort of hit me, and that's why I had to compose myself. But this is a big day for me to end 2024 like this. It means a lot. It really does. I can enjoy the little bit of off time that I have now, and really looking forward to 2025.
It has been a challenging year. You touched on that in your preview interview, and although I think it was still mathematically possible, we all knew the Race to Dubai was pretty much in the bag, but the tournament wasn't.
Yeah.
Was it the way that it transpired today, of what you've gone through this year, make it that little bit extra special today?
Yeah, it does. I think I'm going to look back on 2024, and I'm going to have 4 wins. 3 individual ones. 2 in Dubai, Quail Hollow, and the win with Sheehan at the Zurich Classic. But I know that my 2024 is going to be defined, at least by others, by the tournaments that I didn't win, as much as the tournaments that I did. But this was an incredibly meaningful day for me to get over the line to win my last event of the season. It's been a long year. This is my 27th event of the year, and to dig deep when I had to, especially those last 3 holes. The 2 swings on 16, the swing on 17, and the 2 swings in the last. If I look back on this week, that's what I'm going to remember, and that's what I'm going to take with me going forward.
Okay, thanks, Rory. We'll take some questions. As always, the microphones are there. Joy, start us off.
Rory, you spoke about it towards the end, but those last 3 holes, you played some phenomenal golf. Given what has happened after the 5th hole when you made your last birdie, how important was it, and what you thought about before going on to the 16th?
Well, when I hit the second shot into 16, when I was walking to the green, I was like, I'm pretty sure I can't miss this one. So, I had that run of birdies from 2 through 5, 4 in a row to, I guess, give myself a little bit of a cushion, and then I let Rasmus back in with bogeys on 9 and 13, and not birdieing 7 or 14, the par 5. So I sort of felt it slipping away. I think either of us couldn't really get any momentum on the back 9. And then I said it in my interview with Tim after on the green. I thought the par save on 15 was a big one for me. It was a really tricky putt, having to go, the majority of the putt was through the fringe, and I'd misjudged one of those already on the first hole today. So I thought to get that down in 2 and for Rasmus not to make birdie there either, from being in a pretty good position. I was sort of counting myself lucky walking to the 16th tee, and then, as I said, from there, 2 two great swings on 16. For me, shot of the week on 17, just the 6 iron I hit in there. That was probably the most nervous I was over a shot. This week, it's 17's never. I've always been a little uncomfortable, but to stand up and hit a 6 iron like that straight at the pin, knowing that I had to, that was great. And then the two swings in the last. So yeah, I still feel like there's a little bit of work to do on my swing over the off season here to get it exactly where I want it to be, but all the signs are pointing in the right direction.
And Rory, one more question from me. I need to ask you about Rasmus getting the top card off the PGA Tour, and he having beaten you before. And Tom, your club member, getting the 10th card.
So I was looking at the leaderboard today, and I saw Tom had got into the top 10, and I was like, okay, good. And then when I was walking off the last, I didn't see his name, and I was like, oh. And I saw him before I signed my card, and he was there. He was congratulating me, but I didn't want to ask. And I was like, yeah, yay or nay? And he said yes. So very happy for him. That was a massive goal of his all year, was to get one of those 10 cards and go and play in America. So super happy for him. Rasmus has had an amazing year. To get that first card, to get him into some of the signature events as well is pretty important. So look, I think Europe has a lot of good young players, and that obviously bodes well for the future for European golf, for Ryder Cups. So it's an exciting time.
Ian, please.
Rory, I hope this isn't a daft question, but it might be. But did it feel like major pressure out there today?
Yeah, a little bit. I think there was probably a lot of self-inflicted pressure. I really wanted to get it done. I wanted to end the year on this positive note. So there was maybe more. I was maybe feeling more pressure than I should have. But it was nice to be able to handle it in a decent way. I probably didn't handle it exactly the way I wanted to, especially around the middle of the round. But as I said, the way I finished the round, I'm very pleased with that.
And just on Tom, could you just give us a bit more appreciation of, how rapidly he's got to where he's got to?
Yeah, he's done amazingly well, and I think as well his game is going to be very suited for America. Hits the ball high, hits it long. He won in Germany last year, the European Open. He's had chances this year, the playoff against Marcel in Italy, and he's been very, very consistent. And I think that's, for a guy that's only 21 to show that level of consistency, that bodes well for the future. Obviously, very, very happy for him, and excited he achieved one of his big goals this year in getting one of those cards.
Thank you. John, please.
Rory, you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm just wondering how you react to the way the world looks at the tournaments when you don't win. Do you see that as motivation? I'll show you kind of thing, or does it add to the pressure the next time you get in that position?
No, I think what I've learned is it doesn't have to be important for everyone else. So like, I think what I did today is very meaningful for me personally. I would think from an outside perspective, it mightn't be that meaningful if people are just looking from the outside in terms of other things that I've achieved in the game or things that I didn't achieve this year. But just because it maybe isn't as important to them doesn't mean that it shouldn't be as important to me. I think I've made a commitment, I think, over the last 3 years to prioritize trying to win the race to Dubai and trying to play as much as I can on the DP World Tour. And look, I know the way, I know how people are going to view my year, and I view my year, similarly, but at the same time, I still have to remember I won 4 times, and I, won a 6th race to Dubai, and I, accumulated, a lot of big finishes and big performances, and the 2 guys that had better years than me have had career years. Xander won 2 majors, and Scotty's won a Players and a Masters and an Olympic gold medal, and they're the only 2 guys this year that have that I think that have had better years than me. So it's it's a motivation, but I think I need to find that motivation from within. That's not something, I've never been one to look externally for motivation sometimes, but for the most part, I think you need to find it within yourself, that motivation to go on and achieve what you want to.
Rick, please.
Rory, you're obviously, as you say, emotional about drawing level with Seve. There's only one person left, obviously, that you need to get. Is that clearly the goal now to get?
Absolutely. I mean, I've come this far. I may as well try to get the 8 or 9. As I said, I think getting to 6 and, this 3 in a row. So prioritizing the race to Dubai and DP World and trying to, achieve something that, hopefully no one else in the game, has achieved. If I am to surpass Monty, but I've got a good 10 years left, I think. And look, again, the other thing is, who knows what the world of golf looks like in a few years' time. So, but as long as the race to Dubai is happening and there's an order of merit over on this tour, I'm going to want to win it. Yeah.
And just on the near misses, because you've had some this year, and obviously one very high profile one, would it have festered more than it might have done normally had this one, you not got this one?
Absolutely, yeah. I would have. I think I would have been miserable for a few weeks if I hadn't won today. I think it just would have been. It would have just added to the list of ones that I felt I let get away. And for one to not get away and to get over the line and it be the final event of the year, it feels nice.
Riyadh, please.
Rory, it's you were saying outside that you've been through a lot this year. Has this been the most emotionally draining season, would you say, you've had?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite the year. But I'm super happy with where I am in my career and in my life, and I feel like everything's worked out the way it was supposed to.
Ian, please.
Rory, can you just address that enduring ambition and drive that you have? Given all that you've achieved in the game, many people would say that's enough, and it's something that I almost feel like we take for granted because you're there and putting yourself up there every single time. But where does that drive come from? What is it?
I don't know. I want to be the best golfer that I can be. And that's what I've always wanted, and I never knew where that would get me. But it's gotten me pretty far. So, it seems like a recipe that I should keep going with. But yeah, I think I do a good job of setting myself goals throughout the year and trying to, I think I'm much better at setting like little short-term goals and trying to work my way through those. And then hopefully by the end of the year, it sort of adds up to something bigger than that. So, but yeah, as long as I'm feeling healthy and feeling like I have the game to compete at the highest level, I'm going to try to get the best out of myself up until the point I feel like I'm no longer good enough to compete at the highest level. But I feel like that's a very long way away.
You have another question, Riyadh? You're just clinging to the microphone. Any more questions from anybody else? Joy. Hugh.
Rory, given your history in the UAE and in Dubai and the wins that you have had over here, have you ever been offered honorary citizenship of the UAE? And would you take it?
I have never been offered, but if I were to be offered, I probably would take it, yeah. You know, look, I lived here for 4 years. I was a resident. I love this part of the world. I always have. As I said, I was lucky enough to receive an invite into the Dubai Desert Classic in 2006 as an amateur, and you know, I've been coming back to this region every year since. So you know, it's been 18 pretty cool years. There's been a lot of fun memories along the way, and as long as this region continues to be an important part of the world of golf, I'll keep coming back, whether that's with citizenship or not. But I love coming back here. I've got a lot of friends that either live here or friends that are Emiratis, and you know, I try to make a point to come back as much as I can.
Any more questions? Nope. Looks like we're all done. Rory, many congratulations of what you've achieved today. Thank you for all you do for this tour. I hope you have a very nice Christmas and New Year period, and we look forward to seeing you back in this region in January, trying to win your 8th title in Dubai, and whether you're a resident by then or not, I don't know. Or a citizen even.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, everyone.
To watch another DP World Tour video, click here, and to subscribe, click here.